So here we are. I'm here outside Oldham Springhead Liberal Club. Greg wanted to bring his pint and they wouldn't let him, so...
Not that liberal, yeah, told me.
It turns out.
They said we're liberals, not anarchists. We like these people.
And so it's Greg Cook, everybody. So, hey, and Greg's just been on, smashed it, lovely. How'd you find it, Greg?
It was lovely, yeah, sweet as or not. There's too many of those little venues going to waste up and down the country, mate. Beautiful little club, purpose built for entertainment, and it's just not got the trade for it. But that was nice.
And I know we're biased, but the thing about a lot of the sort of, kind of social clubs, liberal clubs, conservative clubs, that, you look on the wall and it's like every Saturday night, they have weekly entertainment. It's always like, but it's singers and stuff like that. I'd love to see a real revolution of comedy to come back into these places.
Be nice, and well, you're doing your bit towards making that happen, aren't you, my friend?
I'm doing my bit, I don't.
Indeed.
It's funny enough. Pressure, but
funny
it's
enough,
all on me.
I was working with Jonathan Mayer earlier this week, and he said a very funny thing. He says the odd funny thing
on stage
now and again. Somewhere he'd been, and we always do. We check out the posters to see who was on before and who's on next. And somewhere where he'd been recently, the previous week, had a Michael Bublé tribute act. And he said, quite reasonably, is Michael Bublé not already a tribute act? He said, where do they go from here? A Rory Bremner impressionist. What a great observation that is.
That's a great little line.
No, I'm nicking it anyway.
I'm
not going to say that he said it. I'll say I made it up.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, it, mate.
I'll edit that bit for you.
Yeah, edit that.
So the 4 questions. This is Fourq Week with the 4 questions. Greg, favourite memory of comedy?
Favourite memory? Right at the very, very beginning, I think, actually. Yeah. My backstory, how I got involved in the first instance, I've been allowed to use language on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got pissed a Sunday night. I was a cab driver at the time, and I always used to get pissed on a Sunday night because I wasn't driving my cab.
Oh, right, yeah, good. That's good to know.
Don't look so worried. And I saw an advert in. Well, it wasn't an advert. It was in Gary Bushell's column. It was, as it turned out, with hindsight, there was some sort of management connection between Gary and the guy who was running this thing. Okay. So he effectively had used his column, his TV column, to plug this thing. And what happened? The show was called Take the Mic. It was on ITV. Nobody ever watched it. The public didn't watch it. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, but the industry people watched it.
The industry, that's it.
So I mistakenly believed that it was for people who'd never done comedy before. Yeah. Who'd never done comedy before. When I got there, so I'm pissed anyway, so I entered this thing on the Sunday night. On the Monday morning, somebody phoned me. I didn't even remember having left a message on the Sunday night, but you go with the flow, don't you?
You do,
that's what we do.
He rolls with it.
And he said, can you put something down on a disc or whatever it was back then? And I'd got a state-of-the-art computer. I'd come by a big lump of money from somewhere, which we don't need to go into. And I had this thing, and there was proper state-of-the-art kit. So I just put a bit of stuff in there, sent that down. It gets there momentarily, obviously, because of the wonders of modern technology. And they got back and said, can you be down here Wednesday night? This is now Monday. Yeah. So, yeah, why would you not? When I got there, I realised it was for comedians who actually hadn't been on television before.
Wow.
I thought it was for people who'd never done comedy. So my first time actually on stage was televised. The first 2 times, because I won the heat and then they went through to the semi-final the following night. So my first 2 gigs were both televised.
That's incredible.
So my first time on stage was in front of like 150 audience with TV cameras and all stuff like that. And also I got to meet Omid Jalili, who's remains a hero of mine, because the setup of the show was like a workshop in the day, and then the show at night time. And Omid Jalili was the mentor. And I was like, whoa, that's a famous film star. He's not just a famous comic. That's a big guy. And I tell you what he did here. What a marvellous man this is. He has nothing to win or lose by doing this, other than the fact that he's a decent man, and you knows a lot of pricks in this industry. He's not one of them. He had seen my routine. He was doing this mentor thing, And he turned up, suited and booted, about 5 minutes before I was due to go on stage.
Yeah.
On his way to a gig somewhere, he stopped his cab outside where we were filming, and he run down and he said, "Greg, I've been thinking about that thing. How about if you said this?"
No
and
way.
I thought, what a nice
What
fella that.
an absolute
And I said,
legend.
well, I appreciate that. I'm on stage in 5 minutes. You think I'm starting fucking about with my set at this point? It's not going to happen. But really, I do appreciate what you've
Yeah,
done.
totally. The actual gesture of that.
Wasn't it a gesture?
That isn't it?
And that was the high point. It's fucking all been downhill from there.
I love it. First gig, televised, 150 people, and now.
But it got there because the industry people watch it. The public never watched it. It had about 40
totally.
viewers, but they were all industry people. So it got me. I was getting paid work from about gig number 12 as a
Brilliant.
result of that.
No, but Greg, yours is the story of like this is. It's almost like like this is the sort of Billy Elliot of the comedy. Like you went from being a cab driver to
Can you not think of
straight onto
somebody
stage.
else?
Yeah.
Billy Bunter.
Billy Wiz. We'll keep
Fred
going.
Elliott.
Yeah.
Fred Elliott.
Fred Elliott. So that was a beautiful start, and obviously you've come down, and now we're in a car park in Oldham in front of an iPhone. But so we
Swings and
can
roundabouts,
swings and
innit?
roundabouts.
What else are we doing on a Friday night?
Which leads me beautiful on worst memory, worst gig or worst time of
My worst gig was fairly recently, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you're out there on your own a lot of the time. Which I work on the dinner circuit a lot
Yeah.
now, so you can lie about it because nobody's ever going to know.
Yeah.
You can't lie about it. If you die on your hoop in a comedy club, there's
It's
at
out
least
there.
3 other comics. And the world will know by the following morning
Totally.
because that's how I felt really sorry for him. No, you didn't. You just want to fucking tell
Yeah,
everyone.
totally, yeah.
That's how it happens. I don't have a bad strike rate, so it still is. Thankfully, it's a rarity for me to
I've gigged with
not
you
have a
loads
bad
and
gig.
never seen you done badly.
Well, I'd go along with that. Yeah, you're only saying. Well, to be fair, you're only saying that because it's true. But,
No, but yeah, it's true.
But it was it was a rugby club, I think, and the guy who was comparing it and sort of hosting it, was part of the rugby club. They were his people,
Yeah.
and he's a disabled guy, and he has one of these like a mobility scooter.
Yes,
type
that's
thing.
the one. Yeah.
So, they were his audience, and I'm not making excuses here.
No.
I mean, I died on my hoop. It was an ignominious flight for the only one I've ever done where I'm like, thank God I haven't got any gear to collect. Or,
Wow, yeah.
And they'd paid me up front,
Oh,
so I didn't have to
don't
hang
worry
about
for-
waiting for money.
I hate that if you've done badly
Yeah.
and they're like that, just handing over every tenner like that.
So it was just time for a sharp exit,
Wow.
I wasn't even going to stand around and take it on the chin, but the guy who was comparing it, he's just because he's not able to stand up, so fair play to him.
Yeah.
I don't expect him to be. He's not a stand-up comic.
Yeah,
He's not
come
a
on, wait,
a sit-down comic. But he's basically got in front of him on the table printouts of jokes from the internet. Well, those jokes all actually belong to somebody originally. It might be a dead person to belong to, but
Yeah.
I recognise 1 or 2 from people who are
Who
on the
do
circuit
stuff,
whose
yeah.
stuff has been. And we know we can't protect material. I accept that, but. So he's basically just reading these things off a piece of paper and they're falling about laughing.
Loving
And
it.
every laugh he got, my soul just crinkled a little. I cannot follow this man. These people are going to fucking hate me.
Yeah.
And I was actually, while he was doing it, trying to rack me brains. And you're a very fluid performer. I'm not. I'm kind of more mechanical than comes across.
Yes,
I
yeah,
give the
yeah.
impression of being fluid, but I'm actually not. You are.
It's a
You're a
script.
fluid
You follow
performer.
with a script, don't you? Yeah.
Pretty much, it's a
Yeah.
one-man play every
Yeah.
time I go on stage.
Yeah.
With you, it's a one-man. It's
It's
free-form
a-
play
well,
when you go on.
or-
You make shit up as you go along. I'm not good at that.
Or a car crash.
So
whatever.
whichever it is, yeah, that can happen. So I was reduced to trying to remember old gags,
Oh man.
and I remembered 2 old gags that I knew would work with that crowd, and he told them seconds after I remembered them.
You just saw
And I'm like, oh no.
he'd just
And
taken your life
it
for
was
us.
diabolical. And I was down to do, I think, 45 minutes. And after about 20, it was just, we'd gone through, by 20 minutes, we'd gone through the silent stage. Now they were being abusive and all of that.
Man.
And so I just walked. And I actually ended up giving the guy some dough back because
Sometimes.
for a quiet life,
Yeah.
you know, it enables you to keep the moral high ground.
It does.
And it sounds a throwaway thing, but the money is not a major issue. I mean, I need some dough coming in, but my kids are grown up and my mortgage is paid. I don't need a fortune coming in. I earn more than I need to earn.
Yeah.
So for a quiet life, I gave him some dough back via the agent that had booked it. And the worst part about it was, it would have been completely redundant for me to say, and tell that prick I'm never working for him again, because that decision had been way made before we got to the point of me going, I'm never working for him again, but that ain't my call anyway. He's decided that.
yeah. He's like, you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah. Don't wait for the phone calls. So that was the low point, and it was fairly recent, and then. Probably about 7 or 8 gigs ago, that, and everyone since have smashed it up, fortunately, because we put this face on, but we don't want to. Fucking, has ever been found out? Am I actually shit? And everyone since have had a marvellous time.
Do you know there's a psychological thing I read about a while called the imposter syndrome, and most people suffer from it. This idea that I'm gonna get caught out. Like some people are just gonna one day they're
getting away with murder.
Yeah, we're just getting away, and it is a ridiculous job to get away with. But I remember reading the beginning of Peter Kay's autobiography, and that's the thing he said right at the beginning. He goes, at some point, I just feel the police are going to turn up and say, right, game's over, son. You've been rumbled. You get back to Morrison's or whatever.
Get back up that ladder. Just chamois leather.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm with you, Peter. So.
But the longer we can delay that date, the better.
Totally. And obviously you're loving it. You're loving going for it. What is that thing that you would say is the motivation, that essential? Because it's obviously not the cash, because you're loaded.
I wish. If I was loaded, I wouldn't be doing it at all.
Interesting. So, would you say cash, money would be the main motivation? And that's not a problem. I'm not.
Well, to the extent that money is everybody's main motivation, because you need some. I don't need as much as I have. When I needed dough, I was earning dough when the kids were little and stuff like that. Now I don't. And I'm still getting a decent living. But, you need to have an amount of money coming in. And I've tried everything else. And I'm now, the downside of having been doing this with a modicum of success for over 10 years now. Yeah. And doing it full time for approaching 7 years, full time. You know what I'm saying, don't you?
It's better than a real job,
I bought myself a dog coming up 2 years ago to get myself out and get myself some exercise. Yeah. Because I would have been dead by now had I not got him. I bought him as effectively as an organic treadmill, but then I ended up falling in love with him and I bore everyone to death about him now. Yeah. But that's a side issue. But the fact is. I'm not professionally qualified. I left school at 15. I'm not professionally qualified to do anything else. Yeah. And, I can sell stuff. I've always been a bit of a salesman, but nobody's buying. We're in a recession. Let's don't forget that. Yeah. And I could do, I can lay bricks and I can clean windows and shit. No, I can't. No. I'm not fit enough to do that shit anymore. So this is all that's left for me.
Yeah. And that's
my motivation, is the fact that it keeps my income, my finances ticking over, and I am physically able to do it. It's not too physically demanding, for it's not at all physically demanding. Although that step up to the stage once looking at it there, by the way. Bloody hell. I had a sweat on by the time I got to the microphone.
Yeah. I don't think they have the internet at Oldham Liberal Club, mate. They won't be seeing this. But no, you're right. Comedy is a real meritocracy. It's you don't have to have qualifications; you just have to be good. And you can get up there on a wheelchair and you.
For sure, well that guy does. But if
with a printout,
with a printout if you want. If you can get away. To be honest, I don't think he's terribly busy. I think maybe does 3 years or something like that. And
so, final one, Greg, and I do appreciate the time. So that's
just as long as I don't miss the offline.
I got a prize for you in the back. In motivation for life. What would you say? What is that thing that gets you out of bed in the morning generally? Apart from the dog now.
Well, it's the dog, and also as I was telling you earlier, I've just sorted out this little radio show. It's an online radio show,
Yeah.
but I'll throw everything at it because I'm kind of a bullet a gate sort of a person. I either don't do it or I do it both.
You go
I
for
give it
it
both
with
barrels,
everything,
you know.
yeah.
So I'm getting up now. Where I used to get up at 11 o'clock and take the dog out till 2 o'clock. I'm up at 9 o'clock now, take him out till 12 o'clock, and then I'm writing and stuff like that, you know.
Great.
And that either works or it doesn't, but it's an exercise in any case.
Yeah.
You know, if it doesn't come to anything, it's not wasted because it's a mental exercise. It's stretching
got
me
you
mentally. The
stretched.
dog's stretching me physically. I don't run around. I don't run around with him, but I walk a long distances.
And you've given up figure skating, yeah?
Yeah, since the figure skating.
Yeah.
Put down on my cigarettes. And that, so. Yeah, so it's all good, Tony.
That's
all good.
Greg, you
Life's
are a
dream.
legend. Life.
If them buddies are right, I'm coming back as me, I'll tell you that.
What a treat. I love it. I love it. Greg Cook, you legend. Thank you so much.
Lovely
mate.
seeing you again, pal.
Cheers.